have a couple, two short questions. Do they have bed and breakfast for budget travelers? I mean, and also, what is the government doing for to facilitate like organized tours? For instance, I was trying to promote one of the larger travel agencies here in Toronto to organize a tour to Macedonia on a regular basis. Like, thank you.
Well, thank you very much for this question. This is very important, and this is part of the efforts that we are doing to bring in tour operators to Macedonia, show them Macedonia, show them our product, and help them in the beginning create interest and offset some of the costs. In January this year, the Ministry of Economy passed this bylaw that stipulates different amounts of money available to foreign tour operators that bring tourists in Macedonia. And I would be more than happy to discuss this with you in person. I'm glad to hear that there was an effort to put Macedonia on the radar screen of tour operator here in Toronto. Unfortunately, we do not have presence from our agency, Invest Macedonia, that is currently also covering tourism promotion. We do not have a person in Toronto since the beginning of this year, and it was this year that these efforts have really taken up, and there was no one to follow up on that. But I would be more than happy to do that from New York, and I look forward to working with you on this. Thank you.
We have time for just the two more questions, and I hope they're brief because we have to wrap this up. You can actually talk to these people when we're having coffee and networking. So Andrew, please ask your question.
It's just a brief one to Filip. I guess America's been very lucky with CNN with the Invest Macedonia commercials. As an Australian, I'm just wondering how can we get those commercials to Australia? And I guess seeing that Australia is one of the unfortunate countries that recognises Macedonia under FIREM, how can we get Invest Macedonia commercials on Australian media, on radio and television? It's been sort of powerful within the Macedonian community because of CNN and Anna Koren as an Australian being there for the I-list and things like that. How can we get your products on Australian media and to general Australians?
Well, certainly we would be interested in doing that. So far we have focused on areas of the world where we had physical presence, people like me, and that we felt were the immediate, the sweet spot. Since the beginning of this year, we have a person in our embassy in Canberra, and we will think about putting some of our commercials on some of the TV channels in Australia. So it might be a good idea to exchange cards and stay in touch. I would be very happy to forward this idea to our marketing department that is in charge of our media campaign. And if not for this year, definitely put Australia on their plans for 2011.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good question. And last question.
I have a 15-minute dissertation. Is that okay? No, I'm only kidding.
Well, I'll dismiss everybody and then you can do your dissertation.
Filip, I'm sorry I missed the early part of your discussion. I had to actually do some work this morning. In the former Yugoslav days, the tourism program was very advanced. They had extensive understanding of the visitors, aside from domestic Macedonians versus whatever. There was a massive number of Western Europeans, particularly Germans, Swedes, so forth, visiting, and they knew exactly, the numbers were known internally. What I'm asking is, how well do we understand where the visiting population comes from? Obviously, you target those sweet spots, as you said, and it sounds to me like we really don't understand that at this point. Is that correct?
No, I don't think it's 100% correct. Although there is some truth in what you said. Because of what was going on in the 1990s and early part of this decade, Macedonia just didn't focus enough on tourism. And a lot of the work that has been done previously in former Yugoslavia has not been carried on at that level of quality. But things are improving. The State Statistical Office has detailed information on all foreign tourists that visit Macedonia and stay at Macedonian hotels, bed and breakfast, and so on, by country of origin. So the statistical information is right there. As I mentioned, we have recently established an agency for tourism. And this agency is working on a strategy how to most effectively understand the needs, address the needs, and improve our product offering. So I think that your concern is is justified. We have the same concern, but we are working to address it, and I think you will see the effects pretty soon. However, you know that these things do not happen overnight, but I think that we are moving in the right direction, and especially in what you say, understanding the needs of the foreign tourists. We have a huge number of Dutch tourists this year visiting Macedonia. We hope to have a lot of tourists in the next years coming from countries like China, as well as from the US and the other parts of Europe. The biggest number of US and Canadian tourists in the times of Yugoslavia were retired people that traveled on a tour from the Adriatic, Split, Dubrovnik, then spend a number of days in Ohrid, visit the monasteries in Western Macedonia, and then travel to Greece. So this is something that we would like to replicate, and that we are focusing on. Macedonia has some qualities that make it especially suitable for alternative types of tourism, as we saw, adventure tourism, and these are also the types of tourists that we want to attract, not just mass tourism like in the old days in former Yugoslavia.
If I may ask a follow-up question, is there a reason why you do not make a distinction between Macedonian diaspora visitors versus a true, if you will, non-Macedonian connected individual? The other gentleman's question was, I think you were referring to your wife and her passport, dual citizenship passport issues. It seems to me if you're trying to understand your market and you need to understand what your, if you will, contained market can be, which is the diaspora, which visits continuously in some fashion or form, and also your distinct exterior market, which is the larger world at hand. And not understanding that division by counting those as sort of internal expenditures confuses the numbers. It actually skews the numbers and truly harms you in terms of understanding how to market to the larger group. You're going to market to these people anyway, and that's going to occur. So my question is really, why don't you make the distinction?
That's a very good question. I would have to ask the people in Macedonia myself the same question. I don't think that a distinction is not made, but definitely we need to work a little bit harder on this and do some field research and do some questionnaires and try to understand better the needs of the different types of groups of people visiting Macedonia. Thank you very much for this.
Thank you.
Thank you.